Welcome to Xinyu One-on-One.
Qandaq kishi ketar ishga yorini tashlar mayli bo'lsa olg'ach ketar uyiga boshlar mayli bo'lsa olg'ach ketar uyiga boshlar mayli bo'lsa olg'ach ketar uyiga boshlar uyiga boshlar.
Hello, today on Xinyu One-on-One, I'm pleased to welcome John Faust, a candidate to represent Virginia's 10th Congressional District in the United States Congress. Can you introduce yourself?
Certainly. Hi, I'm John Faust. I serve on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, where I have been for 7 years, and I'm a resident of McLean, Virginia.
Congratulations to John Faust, the Democratic nominee for Congress in the 10th District.
I'm also running for Congress to make sure that women get to make their own health care choices and that discrimination based on gender, sexual preference, or orientation are ended.
Mr. Faust, after your county involvement and your service on the Board of Supervisor, why did you decide to run for Congress?
Well, I've been on the board for 7 years. On the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, we tend to come together in a nonpartisan way, and I think myself as a common sense problem solver. We've had a lot of success in Fairfax County working together as a team. And I look at Washington and I see the exact opposite. I see nothing but partisanship, and in the end, the thing that really made me decide to run for Congress was the government shutdown. I find it unacceptable that our Congress would allow something like that to happen, and I hope to go there and make a difference.
You are the only candidate in the 10th district for Democrats. Is it a challenge for you?
I guess I would feel very lucky. When I got into the race, Frank Wolf, the incumbent congressman, was still in. And he had been in for 34 years, so it was going to be a very difficult race for me to beat a 34-year incumbent. But I thought it was worth taking the challenge on because I was so disappointed in what was happening in Washington. But after I got in, Frank Wolf got out a week after I got in, and I actually had two Democratic opponents when I first got in. They've both gotten out, and they've both endorsed me. So I am very fortunate to be the Democratic nominee, and I am looking forward to Republicans selected their nominee yesterday in a party-run caucus process, and so now it's both parties have defined their candidate, identified their candidate, and we're off to November.
Congratulations. On your website, you say you need to address the dangerous brinksmanship and utter dysfunction in Congress. Even if your campaign is successful, how can one freshman congressman, after 435 House members, address this problem, brinksmanship and dysfunction?
Right. Well, I've always believed that one person can make a difference. I realize that in Washington, it takes a majority to accomplish something. But while I am one person running this year, there's 435 elections across the country, and there will be 435 elections every 2 years of congressmen. I'm optimistic. I believe that American the voters are most of them are as dissatisfied with what's happening in Washington as I am, And I believe if not this time, eventually via the elections across the country, we will have people like myself going to Washington who really do want to make a difference and set our country on the right path for the future.
Tell us, what is your strength?
Strength? Well, first of all, I'm a hard worker. I'm the first member of my family to go to college. I worked my way through, or I paid for my college by working in the railroads and in the steel mills. And I've spent my entire life working hard, and I believe solving problems in a consensus building way. So I think that's a real strength. And then of course I am committed to jobs and economic growth, creating jobs and economic growth, and I believe my approach to government, which is fiscally responsible, but at the same time investing in essential services and job creators like infrastructure and education and research and development, is the best approach. It's what's going to make a difference, and it's going to prepare our country for the challenges of the future in a very challenging and competitive world.
Actually, you are very popular. Do you know that? Now I have a caller call in. Who is the caller?
Naila, and I really want to support you for the coming elections for Congress, and I promise that I'm going to bring you a lot of voters from the Muslim community as well as the Asian community. And we love you and Maryland a lot, and we want you to continue your good work for the community. Thank you so much.
Have said that traffic congestion is a threat to our quality of life and our ability to attract and retain business. You have said you will work to have federal government provide more funding for major regional transportation improvements. What are those major transportation improvements? Can you tell us a little bit?
I absolutely believe that we need to invest more, the federal government needs to invest more in the transit system in this area. We've just, we're in the process of completing basically a $6 billion Metro Rail project, the Silver Line. In my opinion, the federal government did not pay its fair share of that cost. They didn't contribute to the extent that they have in other jurisdictions for mass transit projects of that nature. And because of the unique nature of the Washington metropolitan area, where many of the commuters are either government employees or government contractors, I think there's maybe an even more significant obligation of the federal government to help us deal with that challenge. So that's one area. And then the state has stepped up. We've last year the Virginia legislature passed a game-changing transportation funding package. I supported that package. I think I was proud of the legislature and the governor because they came together in a bipartisan way and passed the transportation bill. My opponent this fall was one of the few Northern Virginia legislators to vote against that transportation bill. And my point is, number one, we needed the transportation. Number two, if you can't come together and solve a significant issue like transportation funding in Richmond, when everyone else is working together in a bipartisan way, you're not going to be able to solve problems in Washington where we know partisanship is the rule of the day.
How likely do you think Congress will approve more funding?
I think it's very likely. I think that we're at a stage where the United States has been going backwards in terms of its investment in infrastructure, its investment in education, and really its investment in research and development. Those are job creators. Those are things that enable this country to expand and the economy to grow, and for the middle class to have real jobs with an opportunity to improve their quality of life in their station. I think that, you know, it's inevitable. We have to do it, but we have to get the right leaders in Congress to lead us in that direction.
Again, at the CDC, John Faust is the supervisor of Fairfax County. Now we have a caller. Who is the caller?
Hi, Supervisor. This is Tor Arcala from Fairfax County.
Hi.
Hi.
Supervisor. My question is about student loan reform. I'd like to know what your stance is on student loan reform.
Oh, your question is the student loans.
Student loans?
Yes.
Anything you want to address on the student loans?
Yes, I mean, we definitely have to do something about that. Education is becoming available only to the wealthiest or those who are willing to assume an extraordinary amount of debt. And you know, I think that's holding our country back. For the sake of the students and for the sake of our country and our economy, we have to make college more affordable. Interest issues with student loans are something we need to look at. The Ryan budget proposed by the Republicans recently would start charging student loan interest while students are still in college. That's unacceptable. We should be looking at it from the other end, trying to figure out how to make it easier for students to get their education. One of the programs that I would like to see is to have loan forgiveness, or at least interest forgiveness, if students are willing to spend several years, the first couple years out of college, working in public service jobs. Particularly, I would like to see teachers who go into the STEM fields. Things like that. There are things we can do, and there's things I think we have to do to make college more affordable for everyone, so that the opportunity that we're creating in this country is available to everyone.
Thank you for calling. That's a good question. That answer your question already?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. So, federal government is the largest single employer in Fairfax County. You have said that if you are selected, you will have a special responsibility to ensure that all the federal workforce and the retirees are respected for the important work they do. They are treated fairly. Can you give me some examples then what you will propose to do?
Yes, I believe that you know, the Washington metropolitan area does have the most significant concentration of federal employees. It has been a bipartisan approach over the years with the congressional delegates from this area who, you know, stand up for and advocate for our federal civilian workforce. I think that's, you know, my predecessor, Frank Wolf, is well known for he's a Republican. He works with Democrats, and the Democrats work with him to ensure that the federal workforce is respected and compensated fairly. So that is one of your responsibilities, I believe, as a member of the Northern Virginia congressional delegation, is to ensure that their federal employees are compensated fairly. And I say respected in that it's so easy for members of Congress from around the country and for talking heads on the television or the cable news shows to attack federal employees, to, you know, show them disrespect. They're not, you know, they don't. They call them bureaucrats, whatever. That's wrong. I know too many federal employees who are making a tremendous contribution to our government and to our communities. And I think just you have to stand up for them and make sure that people realize the government shutdown demonstrated it, how essential they are to the quality of life that we have in this country, but particularly or specifically in this area.
One of the most hotly debated national policy issue is immigration. So you have said our immigration law should reflect our nation's values as an open and inclusive society and allow us take advantage of everyone's talents and contribution. What exactly are you address on immigration?
I believe that, first of all, immigration has what has made this country great, in particular the Northern Virginia region with the diversity that we have. We are a leader in so many ways, and one of the things that stands out about us that is different from much of the rest of the country is our diversity. And I think it's so obvious that the various cultures of various immigrants and are making a tremendous, when you bring them together in an area like Northern Virginia, you just create a tremendous community and successful community. So I believe that we have to address the more than 10 million undocumented immigrants who are here and give them a way to legalize their status and ultimately to obtain citizenship.
You have been critical of insurance companies, saying they have gouged consumers and refused the coverage to those who need it most when lifetime limits were reached. Congress passed the Affordable Care Act, what some people called Obamacare. You say that it's not perfect, but we cannot return to the old days. If you are elected to the Congress, what changes? If any of them, would you make to the new health care law?
Yes. Well, the one thing I wouldn't do is, as I said, go back and turn our healthcare system back in the hands of the insurance companies. There are issues with healthcare today, and Obamacare is in place. I think people tend to forget, mostly because the Republicans try to demonize the program, that we had challenges with our healthcare system before Obamacare was adopted. So it's a big, huge part of our economy. There are going to be challenges. We got to look for ways to make it better. There's so many aspects of Obamacare that improve the quality that are benefit everyone, not just the people who are getting insurance under the program, the uninsured who are becoming insured, but people like me whose son is 24 years old and on my insurance policy. That's just one example. There are many others. So we have a good program. I think the thing we have to make sure is that to the extent that it can be demonstrated that it is having an adverse impact on jobs, we have to look at that and figure out how we can make the adjustments to ensure that we are achieving both goals, job creation and providing affordable health care to as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. What is your position on the Medicaid expansion?
Yes.
Do you think we need to expand Medicaid in Virginia? We
absolutely need to expand Medicaid in Virginia. There's 400,000 Virginians who are not receiving health care who would. There is $5 million a day that the federal government is taking from Virginia and not giving back. We're paying the costs and we're not getting the money back. There are probably 30,000 jobs that will be created when Medicaid expansion occurs. So it is important that we do it. And I'm confident that it will happen. The states around the nation that are led by Republican governors who, normally would oppose Obamacare generally, have seen the advantage of Medicaid expansion, and they have adopted it. We have a partisan House of Delegates in Richmond that is opposing it. In my opinion, I can find there's no rational basis for opposing it. It's strictly a partisan attempt to prevent anything like a success for the Obamacare program. So I'm very frustrated with what's happening in Richmond. Again, my opponent is one of the leaders of that frustrating effort. So we'll look forward to having that discussion over the coming months.
Little bit. In your campaign, you have talked about your past experience at developing the balanced budgets. You have said you will use this experience and expertise to address our physical challenges by identifying priorities and advocating for a comprehensive plan that funds those priorities which will reduce the deficit. But 2/3 of federal budget is mandatory spending, and half what is left is military spending. What are your top priorities, and how would you reduce the deficit?
There are many things we can do. I think the first thing, the most important thing we can do is to begin investing in the job creators that I mentioned, whether it's infrastructure, education, research and development. These are the types of things that will grow our economy. They will create more revenue for the economy, and they will make our country fiscally stronger. We also, as on the Board of Supervisors, I am chairman of the board's audit committee, and so I know that programs that seem to be running efficiently and well can be made better. And so I think that one of the things that we have to do is make sure that our government is running as efficiently as it can. And it's a big challenge, but there is a lot of money being spent by the federal government. We need to look at and make sure that it's being done efficiently. We have to stop giving tax breaks to the super wealthy and the special interests. That is the wrong direction for our country, and it's fiscally irresponsible to do that. So those are just some of the things I would look at.
Right. In Fairfax County now, you are the supervisor of Fairfax County, so proposed to going to raise 4% of meal tax. What do you think of this? Do you know that?
The background to that is that the chairman established a task force to look at the meals tax issue. We've been getting requests for years from various advocacy groups that Fairfax County have a meals tax. The way it's structured legally is that the Board of Supervisors cannot adopt a meals tax. They have to, all we could do is put it out to a referendum where the voters would decide whether they want it or not. So that is the process she's begun. The task force is going to return to the Board of Supervisors with a recommendation as to whether the meals tax should be put up for referendum, and if it is, when it should be put up for referendum. So that will be decided, or that recommendation will come back to the board in a couple months.
Do you think this proposal will be passed by voters in Virginia or in Fairfax County?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think that the voters are ready for a new tax.
Okay, I have one more question. You said you really enjoy being a supervisor at the Fairfax County. It's supposed it's a very good team. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I've been on the board for 7 years, and I've never in my career had a job that I enjoyed more. We work on a lot of big things, and we do it in I think a very constructive way. Whether it's the Dulles Toll Road or the Dulles Rail or other big things, Tyson's Corner. But then every day I'm working on small things, getting things done that seem small, except for the person you're doing it for. It's big for them. And so every day we're accomplishing something, and I've enjoyed it immensely. It's a great job.
I agree. The big things always start from the little things. Our guest today on Xinyu One-on-One has been John Foust, Democratic candidate for the 10th Congressional District of Virginia. The election will be held November 4th. Thank you for joining us.
It's Lisa Merkel, mayor out in Herndon. You know, you're a great friend of mine, and I'm so proud of you in your race that's coming up for Congress. The 10th District is so lucky to have you. Our loss is their gain, and I just wish you the best of luck in your race. Go, John!
Thank you.
Surrounded by great Democratic elected officials on the holiest day of the year, and I speak to you on this great gathering as a Democratic candidate for an open seat in a competitive district. That is a dream come true. Thank you. I want to thank Jerry Conley for bringing us all together like only Jerry Conley can. And I want to tell you how much I look forward to working with Jerry. It was such a great experience working with him when he was the chairman of the board and I was a new member. I learned a lot, and I look forward to working with him in Washington. You know, I'm running for Congress so I can work with good people like Jerry Conley and to end the gridlock that is hurting our economy, to invest in our future, to improve our educational system and make college affordable for everyone, and to protect our environment, and to address climate change. So, I'm also running for Congress to make sure that women get to make their own health care choices, and that discrimination based on gender or sexual preference or orientation are ended. So this seat is very winnable. It's winnable because we have worked and worked for years and years to set it up. And now I need you to work one more year with me, 9 more months. We're going to win. We're going to turn the tent red to blue. And we're going to join Jerry Conley in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.